How are
Okay.
you today, Mr. Brown?
I'm blessed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes. So, my name is Lizzie Yayo, forever keeping in the bando with the Hype magazine, and we have the legendary Eban Brown in the building. Mr. Brown, can you tell us who you are and what all you have done and contributed to this music industry?
Do you have 8 hours to spare?
Of course I do. Of course I do for you.
well, to everybody who don't know me personally, my name is Eban Brown. I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. My original I studied jazz in school and things like that. I'm a self-taught musician by way of my dad. I'm a guitarist, bassist, songwriter, producer, actor. Um, and my last group that I've been with for almost 20 years, which is the Stylistics. But I started out with a group, my mentor group, Ray Goodman and Brown, and back in '89, '90, yeah. And ever since, it's been about music.
Yes. So, can you tell us your story?
My story.
Yes.
Uh, you know, I'm just a boy from Newark that had aspirations and dreams of just merely um, just I just wanted to sing. I just wanted to play my guitar. I wanted to play with everybody. I wanted to play everywhere, and I still do. you know, and that's just the gist of it. I've worked on many projects, of course. Gospel started out in gospel music, basically. If anybody know anything about quartet gospel, I started out with that, and coming up from a youngster, and I got into secular. Like I said, my first secular gig was Ray Goodman and Brown. I was supposed to be their guitar player, but I wound up singing. You know, which was how many people get to sing with their mentor group. You
Right.
know. So and from there, I joined the Manhattans for a very short period. Myself, Gerald Austin, Blue Lovett, and a gentleman named Roger Harris. Roger Harris replaced Gerald Austin when Gerald Austin went solo in 1986. And when Gerald returned to the group, it was us four for a while until I got a call from the Delphonics. Myself, Wilbert Hart, Major Harris, the late Major Harris. I was about 20, 21 years old then. And um, throughout the years, being with the Delphonics throughout the years, the two brothers that were the originals of the group basically got some legal issues with the name regarding the name, and I took a hiatus from the business for around 1996, if I'm not mistaken, 97, yeah, and then I didn't come back out to the secular world until 2000 of April with the Stylistics after receiving a call, of course.
So they called you. It was like, "We want you back, Mr. Brown. We need you."
I mean, well, that was the first time I joined the Stylistics then, because myself and Herb Morrell, one of the originals, we used to hang out, you know, because for instance, when I was with the Delphonics, or we used to all be on the same tour bus over the years. So he actually Herb approached me in '96, which I thought he was joking around, because I said, "Nah, man." I said that I didn't see myself joining the Stylistics. I never. If you know what, you could have said I was going to join any other organization, but I never really anticipated the Stylistics. Which became a tailor-made situation for me in several ways. You know what I'm saying? Everything is not about money. Is there's it's about fitting into something, and and you becoming a part of what you're in. You know what I mean? And somehow with the master upstairs, he made it. It was tailor made for me. Because we don't know our future. You know what I mean? Only God knew that I'd be doing what I'm doing today. I didn't know. you know.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You're just amazing. You write, you compose, you play your instrument, and you work with great. Can you enlighten your fans with like all you've worked with throughout your journey?
Wow. You know, I've been fortunate to be in the company of some very influential people over the years, including the Jacksons. you know, Although myself and the Jacksons, we never worked on anything, but I mean, myself and Jermaine and Tito were very, 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 very close, and we still are. We still are. Every now and then I'll talk to the guys and everything, and they're doing great as well, actually. Um, I've worked with countless producers. Quincy Patrick, a gentleman that I grew up with, that produced Joe, the singer Joe. The album My Name Is Joe. I worked with him. Matter of fact, I worked with him in gospel. I've known him since we were kids. You know. Another buddy of mine, Shelton Good. Shelton Good played guitar on Donnell Jones' "Where I Want to Be." That's him on guitar. And I played guitar on Gerald Austin's music when he did the Sam Cooke remakes. I played guitar and I did some background work for him. Uh, I've played guitar on tracks for Ray Goodman and Brown in the past. I played guitar on even some stylistic stuff that I've done with them originally. Um, yeah, I mean, I've done so much. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, and somebody always brings something up to me that I kind of like forgotten about, and I'm not elderly yet, but
Right.
it's like, oh yeah, that is right. Yeah, okay, wow, all right. So and then so have it to date. The Stylistics live in Virginia is the biggest project the group has ever worked on, has ever released out there, to date, And I'm still since since the early '90s, I'm still the youngest classic soul recording artist. I mean, I'm a jazz artist, but I'm the youngest classic soul recording artist to date still, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is
So
amazing.
yeah.
You just got back from the UK,
Yes.
yesterday?
About 2 days ago, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two.
So
Was
how
it
did that
Tuesday? Yeah.
go?
The UK is always, the UK is always wonderful because the people of the UK, of Great Britain, as if you will, if you were the man back in the day, to them today you still the man. They still treat you like you just came out. You know, Same thing as Japan. They foreign countries. I mean, I work. I work more overseas these days than here. I have a few things here and there. In the United States, like I'm doing Chicago for New Year's Eve. So every now and then something will come up, but I'm always overseas. You know what I'm saying? So and next year I'm doing Spain next year. I'm going back to the UK the end of March. I'm doing Spain for 3 days, and there's some other things I'm doing London again. I'm doing yeah. So it's like it's so much.
Do you think it's that way due to the appreciation of the culture being different?
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a culture driven situation when it comes to the music. Um, with the with the UK, it's like although, like, now check this out, although the Stylistics were from Philadelphia, but in Philadelphia, they have their own. They're notorious for their own type of music house going on, like the Motown. You know, so um, when you go to the UK as a group, and not to mention when if you're a black group, what I'm saying,
Right.
you can come from California, you can come. It ain't gotta be Detroit, but they are so Motown driven. So if I'm from LA or something like that, and I got three other guys, we got a group, and we wearing our nice uniforms together, they still look at it as Motown. Motown like, you know what I'm saying, if you will. So, but yeah, it's definitely a culture thing. They just love the music, and you know, and that's why, you know, I'm kind of blessed that I've had the opportunity to travel the world because, you know, the artists, whether, you know, you don't have to be a singer, you know, you can be a painter, you can be a photographer, you know, when you travel the world and you look and you witness of what's going on, I think it gives you something. It gives you something besides, you know, you get to see besides your own culture. You know what I mean? And but it's definitely culture driven when it comes to this, and you know, and that's why when I call myself when I'm writing music, you know, I've met so many artists that want to, okay, they say, well, I want to do the R&B genre, or the jazz or the, you know, but I urge artists to be as universal as possible. You know, make your music where not only your own community will love and appreciate it, make your music where the whole world can enjoy it, because that's our communication to the world. It's the music. It's
Right.
what we're saying. It's the lyrics. You know, yeah.
Um, your era is when music was music. How would you say the music today is compared?
Well, it's definitely different because I think, you know, if you're going back to the 60s, 70s, and things like that, as far as back as you can think about, you know, one thing about producers and things of that nature and singers, you know, the music was always about, it was always about music and love. You know, like, you know, back in the day when I used to be in like local bands and stuff like that, you know, you know, if you take groups like Kool and the Gang and the Ohio Players, for instance, like they got together as a band. They didn't. Nobody had no lyrics in mind. We just jammed. So a lot of the music that you hear, they just jammed, and then later on, once you get the jamming out of your system, okay, you know, we got something here, guys. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we got something here. Let's try to write some lyrics to this stuff because the music is already there. You know, and it was more so it was from the heart. I feel, not to say that a lot of artists of today don't write or sing from the heart. I'm not saying that. It's just that when you talk about guys like Quincy Jones opposed to, let's say, Babyface, they're both big producers in their own right. When Quincy was coming along, you know, people wrote, you know, they wrote about stories, they wrote about real life experiences. You know, Babyface, although, you know, great writer. I mean, superb. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I always say the early '90s to the mid '90s, it was the last of the Mohegans. You know, including New Edition. You know, because the music has some substance to it. Today, I feel that I want to say that hip hop has taken over where the classic soul used to be the forefront at one time. You know what I'm saying? I used to tease the guys when I was singing with the stylistics. I used to say, you know, it's funny, man, because, you know, I would say to them that, you know, like I I sang with Arian Love and Herb Morrell with the stylistics. So I used to say that because our management company and our agent, they started like after a while they started like working with those artists like New Edition, Bobby Brown, Johnny Gill, Keith Sweat. I used to say Boys to Men. I used to say that, well, these guys are the new Arian and Herbs because it's like the stylistics. It's like when they were little boys, we were sitting on the step listening to the Drifters and the Coasters and the Platters. And then when that kind of like, I don't like using the word phased out because the music is still here, but it's an era thing. It's an era thing. They never started doing choreography. Really, I think the Temptations might have been. I think they might have been the first, between them and the Miracles. They might have been the first groups to have choreography with their music while they're singing. You know, going back way before that, a lot of groups didn't have that. A lot of artists didn't do that. You know, unless you were just a straight up dancer. But you know, it's definitely different with because I think I was affected by the music that Biggie Smalls or Snoop Dogg. That's what they're affected by. You know what I'm saying? Although I like those guys, but that's what they're affected by, and that's the difference.
Right. I totally understand. Um, are you open to do any features with anyone today?
Of course. And it's funny. It's funny that you bring that up because I want to say, um, don't quote me, but I know it was in the mid 2000s. I want to say 2010 or 11. You can look it up. I worked with Nas. I did a collaboration with Nas,
Yeah.
and it's funny because how I encountered working with Nas when he was married to Khalees. Um, she gave him a birthday party. So I don't think it was a surprise party for him per se, but what she did for him for the party was a surprise to him. So we went to Vegas. She contacted our management, and she booked us to come in to surprise Nas because the Stylistics is Nas' favorite group. So, and I was like, wow, I never knew that. So she arranged for us to come out. So the agony of standing, we had to stay in our rooms and not gallivant around, so he won't see us. You know,
Right.
so we spoil the whole thing. So that night we came out of our rooms. We met. Everybody met at a certain area at the hotel. We came down, and this was the Venetian. Now the Venetian in Vegas. I mean, come on now. I can I can do two shows and still can't afford to stay there.
I feel you.
So we came down, and he was hanging out. His buddy at the time was Chris Webber, the NBA basketball player. So we came down. We came out of nowhere. The band was on stage, but he didn't know who they were. He thought they were just a regular house band or something like that. Man, when they struck that music up and we came out, he was like beside himself. You know. So that night, me and Nas had a conversation, and we we uh, we arranged to get in the studio that following Tuesday, I think it was. Yeah, I went to the studio in Brooklyn because see, I'm from Newark, New Jersey. He's from Queensbridge, which is right across the water from each other, right? So me and one of my nephews got in the car. We went over there, we got in the studio, and it was as they say, it was bananas. But the name of the song was "Can't Stop Us Now." It was on his album, the album called Untitled.
Hmm.
Very interesting album. Very interesting album. It is, what I'm saying? So that was the closest. But yeah, I would love to work with some artists of today. Definitely, I would want to work with. I want to work with. Although he's a legendary person, I wouldn't mind working with Charlie Wilson. I wouldn't mind working with um, um, Snoop Dogg. I had an opportunity to work with Snoop Dogg one time before, but it didn't work out because of the schedule conflict. But yeah, I mean, I'm open to work with, Usher. Hey, look, anybody out there,
Yes.
Mariah Carey, you know,
Mhm.
Shaka
Going on.
Khan, yeah,
Period. And that would be a beautiful collaboration. So in 2008, the collaboration with you and Nas, with the "Can't Stop Us Now"
yeah,
sample "Message to a Black Man." Can you
yeah.
tell us about the experience working with Nas and the significance of that sample?
Well, listen, that whole album was, and I see you smiling because you think you know where I'm going with this. The whole album was, the story behind it and how it came to fruition. And just to let you know, every song he collaborated with somebody different on each song. I think I'm song number two, but he had Chris Brown, he had The Game, just to name a couple guys. Oh, Carrie Hilson, the song he did with her was My Hero. That was the actual single that the record label Def Jam decided to release instead of the one that I did with him. Because if you listen to the lyrical content, I'm like, wow, you know, it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, very interesting. But people love the album. I used to after we done that, I used to go and check in at the hotel. I mean, at the airports on curbside, like going out somewhere to do a gig, And the actual Skycaps who knew Nas's music, when they saw my name on the post on the song, they would say, "Hey man, nice collaboration with Nas." I'm looking up like, "Oh, okay." I didn't know you knew about that song, you know. But that experience, I mean, I don't know how much I can say, you know.
You say as much as you like.
He was talking about, okay, you know, what he wanted to name the album originally. All I'm gonna say is this: what he wanted to name it, it was so much of a big deal that it was New York. I believe Frank Lautenberg. I think he's a New York senator. He was a New York senator. He sent a message to L.A. Reid, saying that if you guys put this album out with that sort of title, we're going to take away 150,000 in pension funds. You know, it got kind of like that. So that's why if you look at the album, there's actually no title to it. It's just a picture of his back with whips on it. You know, so you know when you look at the cover, you can kind of like figure out what kind of content that he's talking about. You know what I mean? I told Niles, I said, man, I said you should have been a college professor, man, with the knowledge in the stuff that he comes out with. You know, his lyrical content is very profound. You know,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just that you know everybody, Nas has always been he's always been a deep person. You know, you talk about race relations and going back to times in slavery, and that's pretty much what this album was derived from. You know, his album that I performed on. That's pretty much, and A Message to a Black Man. It was interesting to me because the originators of the song I know very well, which is this group called the Whatnots. Now, when I was with Ray Gibbon and Brown used to be called the Moments at one time,
Mm-hmm.
where they were responsible for "I Found Love on a Two-Way Street." Right? They were responsible for that song. That was their biggest record when they were the Moments. So once they switched over to Ray Gibbon and Brown, they was at the point where they were having some issues with the record label, Sugar Hill Records at the time. So when they changed their names in 1979, um, the Robinsons, Sylvia Robinson and Joe Robinson, they started working with a group called the Whatnots out of Baltimore. They had a very similarity to the Moments, very similarity, very much, but talented in their own right. You know, I believe that song came from them, and then the Temptations redid it, but it actually came from them. So that was significant that because I'm close to the producer George Kerr, who actually wrote that song, and that's the song that Nas decided to use and everything. But it was, it was very interesting, and I felt blessed being able to be. Although the content was what it was about. It was about slavery going back in the time of what our people, dealt with and terms of that nature. But I found it a very, very blessed situation to be in. I
Right.
wanted to. I was hoping that would have opened up doors for me to work with countless other uh, um, hip hop artists. I kind of wanted to be like Charlie Wilson, basically, because Charlie is like, you know, he's like the best legendary artist that I've seen, that I've witnessed, that like he knows how to work with hip hop, like systematically. Like it's amazing the way stuff that he's not a rapper himself. He's a singer, right? But the way he collaborates with the hip hop music is amazing, and that's pretty much what I want to do. I mean, I want to urge our youngsters to, you know, James Brown used to say, James Brown used to say, when you make a record, make sure that mama can listen to it or
Mm-hmm.
grandma can listen to it. Meaning, look at your lyrics and stuff like that. Make sure, because otherwise, they're gonna start slapping explicit labels on your record. And me personally, I know every producer, in his or her own right, they have the freedom to express themselves. the way they know how. But you know, wow, Eban Brown. Can you imagine the Eban Brown record and I got some profanity in it or something that's mis talking about women? Can you really? I can't really see myself doing that. Having two daughters and a mom, and so you got to think about stuff like that. But I always try to urge them to be a little bit more sensitive in your lyrics because now, not to mention, you got little kids coming up and they're looking at you,
Right.
because when I was a kid, George Benson had an effect on me. Wes Montgomery had an effect on Al Green had an effect on me, and you know what they were about, right? Everything was clean, right? So, um, and then now this generation here is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
It's because artists have power. They have power. You know what I mean? So you have to to say you got a few million people listening to you and following you. Try to be if we can all as artists like turn that around a little bit. I think that's half the battle. I think we can start taking this back to the where it used to be in terms of your heart and your love and your mindset, because music do affects your mindset. It does affect your emotions too. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It really does, man. I think it's the most powerful force on earth. Let alone television shows. You know. I mean,
Mhm.
when I was a kid, you know, watching the Woody Woodpecker and Bugs Bunny and then Tweety Bird and all them, nothing was vulgar about it.
Not at
You
all.
know, but now, I mean, you looking at cartoons like cursing their parents out. I'm like, oh wow, okay. I'm
Right.
50. I'm 51 years old, and I still, to this day, my mom is still here. She's 78, and I still, you know, watch what I say around her. I still watch what Although she's shorter than me, but you know, I still
Respect is
watch what I say.
respect. Look, she
I
took
still
she
watch.
brought you in this world, she'll take you out.
That's right, and that's what she say. Mama say I'll
Right.
cut you down. Mama say I'll cut you down like an oak tree. I don't care how tall you is, yeah. But she's still with us, and I watch what I say around her because it's just a respect thing. You know what I mean? It's you know, and I do have a conscience, so I said, did I really say that earlier? Wow, I didn't mean to, So and that's pretty much it. But I would love to collaborate with anyone who's doing something nice and who's looking to hey you know I would love to definitely you know
Definitely. Well, hailing from Newark, New Jersey, how has your hometown influenced your music and your career?
I'm sorry, repeat that question again.
How has your hometown in Newark, New Jersey helped influence your career?
Oh wow, tremendously. Starting with mom and dad, um, and then in school, all through my elementary school and high school, I had what you called if this is I don't know if this is a word or not, but I'll look it up later to see. It's called is I had indispensable mentors in the city of Newark. It started at home, of course, but when I went to school, teachers teachers were teachers. You know what I mean? They took a personal interest in all of us. Like when I had to go to school, I was like one of the only little boys that played guitar. Everybody played trumpet, sax, violin, or they played the drums, whatever. I was one of the only little boys that played bass and guitar. So when I would walk to school with my guitar, once my music teacher found out that I was doing that, especially in high school, he was picking me up every day and taking me back home with that guitar. He was he took us personally, and he's still with us too. I'm in touch with him as well. Yeah, he took it. In Newark, New Jersey. I mean, on the map. I mean, of course, you got Whitney Houston, the late Whitney Houston, and I grew up with Faith Evans. She's from Newark, New Jersey. Her and my sister, when they were in high school, my sister were a few years older than Faith, but her and Faith Evans had a group called La Femme. They had a group, and La Femme in French means the ladies, you know. And all we wanted to do was sing. Everybody wanted to sing, man, and that was, I mean, being in Newark at the time. I mean, because we sang in church, and church was a big part of us, because that's where we honed our craft, And Faith, she was, her, being from Newark, Whitney, Dionne Warwick. I run into Dionne Warwick all the time, like I'll go down to South Orange, New Jersey. It's nothing for her to be walking across the street or something like that. And but Newark had a very profound effect on my career, because we've always wanted to make our town, our cities, where we come from. We always want to make them proud of us and happy. So you know, yep. But I wish those times could come back. Because I think I would shift things around just a little bit. I mean, although I'm thankful what has happened, and I'm thankful what's up today. But I I think that's a human element. That they say I wouldn't change too much, but I would change just a few things.
Like what?
I would change how business was done, because at the end of the day, you're gonna get burned, in entertainment business. I wish I was. I mean, I've never done anything detrimentally as far as business, contractually, but there were some things that were kind of, oh man, I shouldn't have signed that. I shouldn't have done this, because we just look. We wanted to sing. We wasn't. Our heads wasn't business oriented at the time, you know and then and that's what I would do. That's what I would change. I would change, even being younger, having someone to mentor you the right way about business, and things of that nature.
Yes, definitely.
Hmm.
Well, looking ahead, what projects and collaborations do we expect from Mr. Eban Brown?
Wow. Well, for sure, you can still expect definitely some smooth jazz music from Eban Brown. You can definitely, because I mean, with my latest effort a few years ago is "Summertime in Tokyo." And then you got, before that, I did album called Determinism, which is my only and first all instrumental album. I'm only singing on one song, which is the very, very last song, which is if anybody knows about Cannonball Adderley, a song called Mercy. uh, um, I'm singing that, and I'm actually playing it too. But you can expect some music like that, definitely, because look, hey, listen, at my age, I don't think I can get out there with the, what I'm saying,
I don't know.
doing
You
the.
just did it. You might be
uh,
outside with us. Hey.
I don't know. I don't know. I want to find a way. You know what? I'm gonna tell you. It's interesting. I want to find a way to, and I'll tell you why. I want to find a way to uh, conjoin hip hop with jazz. Now, I'm sure it's been some sit down about that, some speaking about that among certain artists, because George Benson, one of my greatest influences, um, when he was coming along, he was like, they took the biggest male jazz artist at the time, a guitarist, anyway, and turned him into a big R&B and pop sensation. But at the same token, in the music, he was still able to, you know what I mean? He was still able to play, and it
Mhm.
worked. So I want to try something like that of today. You know, Now I don't know if I can take gangster rap and implement it with jazz. I don't know if I can do that, but something that's easy. Something that's easy. You know. Um, Also, you can expect for me to still do concerts out there. Anybody who want to. I'm actually working on a project. I'm kind of behind with it, because I've been dragging my feet with it. I've been just promoting the things that I already have, but I got some stuff coming out, that I'm due. Matter of fact, it was an album called Mr. Brown, basically, that I'm due to put out, that I have yet to do. I'm a little older than when I started it, So, but I just got to finish it and just do it. You can look forward to an album of standards from me. You can look forward to an album of Christmas songs. Hopefully by the end of next year. Hopefully, because I do have a original single, Christmas single called oh geez, what's the name of it? I've got Christmas since I met you. Yeah. So, so hopefully I will
That
put some
sounds
other standards with it.
beautiful.
It's out. Well, it's on my website. It's on. You can view it on YouTube as well. Because I took all my music off of live. What's it called? Off of downloads. I did the iTunes thing, the Spotify. I did all of that when they first came out. I did all of that. But I made a bold move. I took everything off, so all of my music is available on my website. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can you tell them again, tell everyone where they can find your music and what all that you have coming up, where they can find that at for.
Yeah, anything musically that I'm doing. Okay, now not to mention this lovely young lady Liz here. She's interviewing me through Facebook now. You all know that you can all follow me through my Facebook pages, which is Eban Brown Worldwide, and the one I'm on now is just Eban Brown. Just look for the blue suit with the red guitar, and Instagram, of course. I'm even on Twitter. Well, X. I'm sorry. You know. Um, also, my website, as far as my music, anything that you want to get or download, you can get it straight from my website at ebanbrownmusic.com. Once again, that's ebanbrownmusic.com. You can sign the guest book there. Anything that you need to say to me, or a comment or a suggestion or whatever, your feelings about something, talk to me, because I do care about how people see me and what I do. It's interesting to see people's vision of you and things of that nature, and because it gives me an insight on certain things. You know what I mean? I rather, that's how I got where I'm at. It took many people like yourselves to get me to where I am today. So I listen, and I take into consideration comments and suggestions that people give me.
Yeah. Well, I thank you so much, Mr. Evan Brown, for coming and gracing me, Lizzie Yayo, forever keeping it a bando and the Hype magazine.
You know what? Thank you so much for having me. I'm about to call my mother. Say, Mom, guess what? I just got interviewed by Hype Magazine. What you talking about, right?
Yes. Well,
But thank you
thank you
so much for
once
having me.
again. Yes. Until next time.
Until next time, thank you very much. And when I put some new music out, I just want you to promise me that I can come back to you
Oh, yes. Please come back to me.
so we can talk some more. All right.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless.
Thank you.